Good morning. A warm Servite welcome on a rather chilly, dreary day. We should have ordered better weather for this. We're grateful for all of you coming to join us in this morning. As you know, Peregrine, in honor of St. Peregrine. And we're beginning our morning with a speaker, and that's Father Larry Gillick, whom many of you probably know from either a retreat in your parish or a talk someplace else. He travels far and near, and we're grateful. He's a longtime friend of the Servants of Mary, so we're grateful for his joining us this morning. So please welcome Father Larry.
Well, seeing that there aren't any questions, we'll start. But if you have questions, keep them to yourself. So we'll have some time for them. You come hoping for something, hoping to receive something, to change or to deepen or to whatever, grow, advance. So we have to start with God. Let's start with God. A good place to start. We all deal with a different image of God, which is formed by our image of life. If life has been, when we say blessed and happy and everything, then God is good. And then if things have been difficult, then God is not as good as I'd like. And why doesn't God do this? One of the interesting things is our relationship with God. We wouldn't like to say this, but it's pretty much centered around our selfish needs. We are pretty selfish about God. We ask pretty much all the time about things that will make us happy, or well, or complete, or advancing in some way. So we come to God with ourself in hand, which is natural. There's an interesting thing going on in our culture, and you could count them, but how many radio and television programs, and I suppose websites, have to deal with fixing or problem solving? Especially on the weekends, you will hear radio programs about how to get along with your computer, finances, house plumbing, yard work, electrical work, cooking, relationships. That's a lot of problems. A lot of problem solving. And you say, well, how do you get spilled ink out of my linen tablecloth? Well, you use vinegar and Clorox, and you do this and do that. That spot of ink will be cleaner than any of the part of the dining room table, but it'll be clean. Everything has an answer. You see, no, that's not true. Yes, it's not true, but yes, we have a life experience of all problems can be solved. And most advertisements on radio or television will introduce you to a problem you didn't know you had, and then come up with a solution. And you say, oh, wow, if I ever have that problem, I better have that. That spray, ointment, I don't know, anything. Everything is a problem. And it can be fixed. Everything can be fixed. You say, well, that's not true. No, but if you live in this culture, you get the idea there must be someone or something that can fix me up. See, what I'm saying is the outward life, the cultural life, your interactions, everything influences your spiritual life. So that when our foreparents went west in the covered wagons and all, faith was a natural thing for them. They just had to trust. They had the stars at night and the sun during the day, and they kind of knew what direction they were going. But where they were going and what they were going to be doing and all that, how they were going to, it was all a matter of trust and faith. Faith in God was easier because faith in life was necessary. Are we okay with that? All right, because I'm going to ask questions. It'll be an exam at the end of this. So that in a way, how you live will influence your relationship with God and your image of God. So if you think there are answers, if that gets in your spirit, you say, yes, so God, I have to look up God.com and they'll be under solutions, and there it is. And you can't help it. We are in that kind of culture, so that the culture influences the people of the culture. Okay? So we think that there shall be solutions, resolutions, everything. If I just would know the right doctor, lawyer, priest, rabbi, religious, whatever, there's got to be somebody to be able to fix me. Well, then that collides with reality. And you say, well, then it's my fault. I have this, and I should be better. So that's a very important. See, our image of God then gets formed that way. And everyone in here would have an image of God. Operating image. And it does influence how you relate with that image. And so you might have an image of God that is, God is the great fixer, the great solution giver. And God wants to give you that solution, but you have to say the right words. The magic formula. Or you have to have the right disposition. You have to put yourself in the right position spiritually. And of course, if you don't get the solution, it's your fault. You're not saying the right prayers, you're not bending over in the right way. You see that we really, because in a way, business is, so you go to the doctor or you go to the store, and there's a manipulation going on. There is, I have this, I want you to give me this, and the person says, good. I will give you that if you give me something, money or check or a credit card. So it's a business, it's a transaction. And we get used to that. And then you can't help it, but that image, if you're not careful, is what you do with God. And God is waiting for you to come with your need and your credit card. And your credit card is your devotion or your number of prayers you say, 5 prayers on one knee, 5 prayers on the other knee. That'll do it. And you say, no, that's not like God. No, that's not like God. It's more like you. It's the way you do it. And all I'm saying by these funny images is that how you do things and what's done around you does influence your spirit. Okay, any questions so far? That's a big one. So if you want me to repeat anything or challenge it or whatever. Cowards. Cowards. All right. In the 3rd chapter of John's Gospel, verse 27, if you're taking notes, you can write that down or you can look it up. But it says, no one can receive anything unless it is given to them from heaven, unless it comes from heaven. Nothing can be received unless it comes from heaven. So, that's a central belief, that we are the givers only when we receive it. We can pass it on. Reception is prelude to distribution. Reception is necessary. Gratitude is the beginning of generosity, if you want to say. So we are the receivers as well as the distributors, but we can't give what we don't have. And we can't give what we don't like. Okay. Let me read you a poem. There's a poet, a non-Christian poet who sounds very Christian. His name is Tagore, T-A-G-O-R-E. And he wrote a lot from India. Have you not heard his silent steps? He comes, ever comes. Every moment and every age, every day and every night he comes, ever comes. Many a song have I sung, in many a mood of mind. Their notes have always proclaimed, he come, ever come. In the fragrant days of sunny April, in forest paths he come, ever come. In the rainy gloom of July night, on the thundering chariot of clouds he comes, ever comes. In sorrow after sorrow, it is his steps that press upon my heart, and it is the golden touch of his feet that makes my joy to shine. So this poem and this theology is that this God is always arriving. It's a bit like this. Our image of God. It's cloudy out and it's raining today. but the sun is still shining. You could go somewhere where the sun is shining on the earth, and maybe tomorrow you will be able to put your face in the sun, and there it is. But the sun's shining does not depend on you. Your reception of the sun does depend on you. You have to be in a position to receive it. But when it's sunny out, you can put on an umbrella, or you can come inside or sit under a tree or whatever. You can prevent the sun from shining, but the sun still shines. You cannot make the sun shine more or less. It just sun. God is that way. We can be in the position to let God be God, or we can resist God's being God and not be available to the proper reception of that, whatever that God is giving, but that God still comes, like the sun keeps shining. He comes, ever comes. He shines, ever shines. Now, of course, we have to find out how can we be available to that sun shining. How can we be available to it more? When I was asked to be with this group, it just seemed that this theme, this title, that maybe you saw, maybe you're here to figure out what that title is, and me too. But maybe there were people that didn't come because that was too confusing. I don't like that. To be present to the present of the present. It seemed very clear to me at the time, and does now too. But there are difficulties in being present to the present of the present. The second present is the reality of receptivity, of gifts. So be present to the gifts of the now. So be available, attentive to the gift of time. So the three different forms of the word present. Let me say something about gifts, about receiving gifts. And gifts are different, of course, from that which is earned. We don't earn God's gifts. If we earn it, it's payment. It's due us. When I was a young Jesuit, I worked out in the fields. I dug and mowed and did all these things. And I had very strong arms from working all day. And at night, we called it last visit. We all went to the chapel. And I loved to feel my calluses. And they were a bit like rosary beads. And I would say, oh yeah. And I'd look up and say, now, I did this for you today. And I had 3 good meals. So it's about, and I'm going to bed. It's a nice bed, quiet. So I gave you and you gave me. We're pretty even today. It's about 50-50. Oh, yeah, by the way, I also prayed. That counts something. So it was very materialistic, and it was a joy because I had something to give God, and then I had earned what God is giving me. Sometimes 2 desserts, for instance, as a bonus because I had worked extra hard. See, and you say, no, that's not the way. No, that creeps in there, you see. Gifts are not earned, they're received. 3 things about gifts. A gift is always saying something about the giver. There's revelation of some aspect of the giver. I know you, I am generous, I am loving, I am forgiving. There's something being said by the handing over of the gift. Something of me would be revealed. And the receiver has to receive not only the gift, but what is the gift saying about the giver? Okay? Second thing, the gift is saying something about the receiver. I know you, I love you, I delight in you. You are this kind of person, you like this. That's who you are. I'm telling you even more who you are. I'm revealing you to you if you receive it. And the third thing is, the gift is revealing something about the union between the two. So I'm saying something about me, I'm saying something about you, and I'm saying something about us. I give you a gift. And I want to say it, and I want you to receive all 3. In relationship with God then, whatever gifts there are, God is revealing God through those gifts. God is revealing something about us, me, as individuals and as community, and God is saying something about the relationship that God has with us and we have with God. And we have to receive all 3. What are you saying about you, God, that I'm being asked to receive? And what are you saying about me? And I have to receive that. And what are you saying about us? We'll come back to that if you have questions about that. Another thing about God is that you can't know God. God is unknowable. And you say, well, I don't like that. I'd like to know God. You say, well, you can know something about God. Good. If I know something, then I'll be able to know more. Can I know more? No, God is... No, this is philosophy. So, you know the word object. And the chair you're sitting on is an object. You can figure it out. You could chemically analyze everything in it. You could know where it came from, how much it cost, how old it is. It's an object, and the reality of an object is it's knowable. Now you have heard the term objectification, or you have heard the word that person is a sex object, or a commercial object, or an object of derision. It's when you reduce a person to a thing. That's called objectification. And as you know, from your many relationships, everybody beyond description. I'll have people come to my office and one or the other of a marital couple, she'll say, "Father, I can't figure him out." I'll say, "Well, that's a compliment." "No, I want to figure him out. I want to figure her out. She's a mystery." I say, "Right." We call those realities that can't be figured out, we call them persons, but they're really subjects. And to let God be subject is the same as letting spouses or friends or children or grandchildren, whatever. Human beings are mysterious, and God is mysterious. They can't be figured out. I can't figure myself out, and you can't figure yourself out. And Paul said, "What I want to do, I can't do that. What I don't want to do, I do that." I'm a mystery. I'm inconsistent. Yes, that's right. So we're not here to figure God out. That's not what Christianity or Catholicism or religious life is about. Not figuring God out and letting the mystery of God meet the mystery of me. But we have a mind that wants to know. What do you want to know? You say, "I want to know God perfectly so that I'll feel better, or I'll understand, or I'll be able to receive better." No, that's not true. You want to know God so that you can be God. You could take over. You could be like God. So that the first present, of course, to receive is this mysterious me. And it's a great, great process of receiving the present of myself, because it's not perfect. It's got scratches and ink stains, and I can't call anybody, "Oh, I can go and see a psychiatrist. They'll help me," or somebody will help me, and they're going to make me perfect, and then I'll be okay. In spirituality and Catholicism, the real struggle is the reception of the gift of me as a revelation of the giver. If I receive the gift, I have to receive what is the giver saying about the giver. That's why I started there. What is God saying about God by giving me me? Well, you could say God doesn't know what God is doing, or God makes mistakes, or God punishes, or God doesn't care. It's all the kind of images that have gone through since people became aware of maybe there is something greater than me. And there's always this hope of manipulating that God so that I will be God. I can control God. What is God saying about giving you you? Well, one thing is, God is saying about God, I want you back. I'm giving you as a gift, because I am the giver. But I am so in the gift that I want you to return to me. That's very difficult to believe. That there is and we'll hear it at the Eucharist today, that we participate in the divinity of Christ, that we are participants our giftedness, with all its scratches and ink stains, that giftedness is a part of God. That's a holy place. But the culture would say, and again I say the culture really hurts our spirits, the culture would say, you really can't like what is imperfect. We are so attracted to the perfect, to the good, that as long as there is something not good, it's hard to receive the gift. And it's hard to receive. Could the giver, could this divine giver, give a gift that doesn't reveal the goodness of the giver completely? Could God give us something imperfect? Yes. So that the gift, the present, to which we are asked to be present, is a gift of, it's a big word, but I'm going to explain it. It's a gift of contingency. It's a gift that relies on the giver to be a part of the gift. To every gift that God gives us, God does not say, "Now I'm giving you this gift and it's going to satisfy you." Every gift of relationship, of marriage or friendship, community life, every gift is going to say, if only it could just be a little bit more or a little bit less. Everything, every gift has a hole in it. Every gift has some ink stain in it. And that's what we would call contingency. No gift is going to complete you. It's going to, every gift in your life is going to ask you to lean a little bit on the giver. In a sense, if you want to say, God will never give us a gift that will satisfy us. It'll be absolutely enough. Satis is the Latin word for enough. No, nothing will be enough. You say, darn, it comes so close. Yeah. That leads you to gratitude. The fact that it doesn't complete you leads you to trust, hope, contingency, dependency. I am the vine, you are the branch. You would like to be trunk, roots, the whole thing. You would like completeness. We long for completeness, which makes the reception of the gift, of the present, very difficult. Oh, it's nice, but it's the comma after the but. But maybe there's more here. Maybe, see, we long for fullness. That's just it. One of the great things is to pray with is expectations. Expecto is, spectacles come from that, or spectator. To what are you looking for? Expectations are absolutely healthy, normal, holy. What gets us in trouble is when the expectations become demands. It's got to be this way. She, he, it, they, them. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be complete unless, yeah. So maybe people who plan this day would say, we had the garden and the grounds, and after the talk, if the talk ever ends, you go outside, and then it rains, and you say, damn, it's all going to hell. It's not going to work. It's going to be a disaster. And very sad because I couldn't receive the gift. I had a hope for it. Sure, hope is good. But when it becomes a demand, that if that demand is not satisfied, nothing is good. The men on the way to Emmaus in the 24th chapter of Luke's Gospel, we had such hope. We put our eggs in his basket, and he dropped the basket, broke the eggs, all gone. We're going back to Emmaus, downcast. What they were looking for blinded them. That's when it becomes a demand. It makes being available to the give, to the present, to be available. No, my hands, the demand is this, my hands are set to receive only one thing. And if it's, I want it to be round and it's cube, I can't handle it. You say, I can't handle it. It's a great phrase in the whole thing of reception. I can't handle that. Why? Because my hands are conformed to the demand of my expectations. So receiving gifts is very tricky. What is the giver saying? What is the giver asking? How do I have to live with the gift? Very difficult. Because the culture has conditioned us to expect exactly to receive what we want. So that's a lot about the gift thing. But how about being present to the present? It is about attentiveness. It is being attentive to the fact that you know what you want. In everything you want pretty much what's good for you. You say, no, I'm always for other people. Don't kid yourself. Breathing is selfish, and you do it very well. There's a lot of things we do, but to be present, knowing my selfish expectations, to be attentive to what's being given. He comes, ever comes. Every morning and every night. What is he giving? I have to be aware that how I want it to come, yes. I have to be aware of that, and I'm then, given that this is what I want, can I be available to what is? So that the men on the way to Emmaus, eventually they became attuned to Jesus being present to them. Spirituality, prayer, consciousness, sensitivity, openness, availability, it's all the same. It's in my limited way, can I be available to the mystery of what's happening? So it's about a spirit of adventure. And does life always come down this street, on this road? If I'm only attentive to God comes only this way, but God can come, ever comes differently. It's about awareness, attentiveness. In our spirituality, we call it the examen. At the end of the day, what was given? Was I there? When life knocked, was anybody home? Or was I taken so much with expectations that I was only present to my self-demands rather than what was sung or spoken or tapped Because this God can come any form. Now there is this truth that, and you know this, that if you love someone, you will relate with the person you love according to how they relate. If that person speaks Spanish, then you try to speak Spanish to them. You come to them according to them. And you come to them where they are. What condition? If they're facing west and you come from the east, then you go around and face them from the west, because that's the way they're facing. So that God comes to us according to us and where we are. The question is, do you know where you are? Are you so tied up in expectations of where you should be? We teach a course at the university to seniors, and by the end of the semester they cannot use the word should. They say, I ought to be, I should pray the way I should. No, we say, don't should all over yourself. No more shoulding. No more oughting. Another term we throw out is totally or fully or completely. They want to give themselves completely to God. I say, you can't give anything completely. Forget that. So this God comes to us according to us. We have to be aware of, well, not selfishly, because anything we receive is in preparation to be distributed. We'll talk about that at Mass. So to be present, I really have to be aware. And one of the things to be aware of is how selfish you are. That's a good thing. It's a holy thing to know how selfish you are, how demanding you are, how forced you are by your expectations. That's very good awareness. And then to be open, to say, I will go against my selfishness. Because one of the things I've learned is, for the most part, fears aren't about the future. They really are about, am I going to get hurt? Am I going to be okay? Very selfish, but healthy, natural. It's selfish to breathe. Selfish to eat. But to know at any one moment what my expectations are, and are they preventing me from being present, being there? When life knocks, are you at home? And then the last present, so to be present to the gift, to be aware of the gift, to be aware of yourself to receive the gift or not. I'm not, what I know now is I'm not available to any gifts. I'm hurt. Okay, do you really aware? I'm unavailable for receptivity. That's a good awareness. The gifts are still there. The sun is still shining. I don't want the sun to go inside. Good, but the sun still shines. God, still God's. Life, still life's. Things are being given. I don't want to receive them. I'm hiding. My hands are closed. My eyes are closed. I'm injured. That's true. That's okay. You will recover. But we have a tremendous fear of getting hurt. It keeps us from being available to the present. I don't want the present because it might hurt. It might be a bomb, and I'm going to have the bomb squad come and investigate the gift first. In the spiritual life, it really is about receiving the mystery, the adventure of that gift. And then to be present to the present of the present moment. That 17th century Jesuit holy writer, Peregrine, talked about the sacrament of the present moment. And we're celebrate that when you put your hand out for the Eucharist, you are receiving the sacrament of Jesus in time. And this gesture, poverty, it's empty, there's nothing there. I am receiving the presence of Jesus as a pledge that I will keep those hands available to receive other sacraments today. The sacrament of every moment. Now, what gets in the way of receiving the sacrament of the present moment? What happens if your hand is full and going to the Eucharist, you can't receive the Eucharist because your hand is too full? What keeps us from receiving the sacrament of the present moment, the sacrament of the now, the sacrament of time, is expectations and fears. It's got to be this way. It should be this way. God should be that way. I have said my prayers. I have given my life. I have sacrificed. God's got to be good because I paid for it. And I'm not going to receive the present moment. I'm too taken up with how that moment has to be. Well, that's a lot. That is a lot. You can be, for instance, you can be so preoccupied with the past and its injuries, for instance, that you can't receive the present moment, the gift of the now, because it might be like the past. And I'm not going to be fooled by life or God or others anymore. I am going to be isolated. I will take care of myself. There'll be no adventure in my life, no mystery. I've got it figured out. Life is an object to be analyzed. So that the past can prevent us from receiving. Even the past, the good past, the good of the past has to be continued. And I'm only watching for how the past, the good things of my life, they've got to be continued. So the past can influence my failure to receive the gift of the now. And the future, I'm going to control the future. It takes humility. Maybe the whole morning is this. It takes humility to be surprised. Because the arrogant controller, fearful because of the past, fearful of the future, says, I will not, there'll be no surprises. My arrogance makes me control the future. There'll be no surprises. Well, that's a lot of spirituality, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of awareness about how the culture is influencing us, how our humanity influences. If you're at all interested in the spiritual life, get used to this. It's messy. It's really messy. And Jesus was born into messiness and lived there, and still does. And if you are only, amazing what comes to my mind. I was at a Catholic grade school in my early days, and whose ever birthday, they had to bring cupcakes to share. And early, I don't know, I was in second grade, I noticed that the girls never ate their cupcakes in class. And the boys just crammed them in their mouths, it's just, that's what cupcakes are for. Crumbs all over, frosting. Girls, pure, neat, orderly. Well, that's not real life. And Jesus came in the messiness and the crumbliness. If you want to be in this, have anything to do as in the spiritual life, as you know, every relationship that you've ever had has caused you tension. Or that relationship didn't last very long. You couldn't take the tension. You got rid of the tension by getting rid of that person. That's one way to do it. But every friendship, every relationship is going to cause you attention because it's a confrontation with your ego. And your ego is meeting his ego or hers, and bingo, tension. You are a tug of war between your ego, the other's ego, and what the issue. So God puts us in tension, and the spiritual life is living with that tension of trusting that the gift of the now is really a gift, and I'm asked to receive it. But I might not receive it. You receive something and it's too hot to handle, or it's too cold, or it's too sharp. Yeah, that's right. It's hard to receive the gift of the present moment. It really is. But it'll come again. He comes, ever comes. When we have expectations, we're sick and we want to be well. Okay, God, do it. Do your thing, God, and I'll just be here. And I'll say lots of prayers, and I'll drink holy water, and I'll go to Mass 4 times a day, and you got to be good to me. I got the tickets. Do you have the faith to wait and watch? Okay. That's a lot. We have some time. If you have any questions okay, is it a good one? I promise I will.
You said something about what does God say about God by giving me?
Yes.
And in a nutshell, I want you back to return to me.
Yes.
So it's a 2-part question, but is that both indicative of calling somebody back through the act of death?
Life too.
Or life too?
Yeah. Yeah. It's life as a preparation for death. That's right. God wants us, gives us as a gift that returns to God by how we live it, how we are a revelation. Can you imagine that each of us is a revelation of God? Not the complete one. God is not complete.
The second part of that question is probably highly personal to lots of people here is when I'm a caregiver of somebody who has experienced that cancer.
Yeah.
Is it, I hate using the word wrong,
Go
I
ahead.
struggle with, is it wrong to pray for a miracle?
No. No, it's not. I have
But isn't that putting my expectations on God?
nothing wrong with expectations. It's when they become demands. I have a band here that a mother gave me. Her son had a gun accident and lost his sight, age of 15. They are praying for a miracle. They are people of great faith. But they want a miracle of sight back for the lad. And I'm praying that the miracle be that he can find all of his goodness without being able to see. Very painful. Yes, you must pray with expectations. They are very, very good. Very holy. Yeah. But don't expect that your devotion and your care for that person and your prayers and your sacrifices are going to change it. Now, miracles do happen. But to say that because I do these things, God's got to do it. No. Very difficult to be in a relationship with God that we can't control. In the class, the first semester, we needed seniors at the university. The kids said, well, Father, what I want is a faith. I want a faith in which I know everything. I said, listen to that. He said, I know, it's crazy, but I know it's what I want. I said, no, that's a good thing. There's a lot of things you want that you're never going to get. Like you might want to have two heads. That's a very good question, very insightful. Thank you. Anybody?
Mary, I have a question.
Speak to me.
I have a question. Could you talk about how sickness and pain
Are a gift?
of a loving
Yes.
God of time?
Okay, the question is, could I speak how suffering and pain is a gift of God? Is that it? Okay. Suffering and pain are not gifts from God. The human body is a gift from God. Is it a gift only when I just had a wonderful meal and I feel good, or I just had a good run or a good sleep? It's easy to be grateful or relational with God when I am selfishly involved in my own goodness. Sickness and disabilities and limitations, they are not a gift from God. My body is a gift from God. And tell them I'm busy. A good thing. People call and interrupt me. I expect, demand, that some writers, St. Ignatius said, sickness is as much a gift as health. God doesn't cause sickness. God caused this. Indirectly, God made us have limitations by giving us a human body. We think that our human bodies, by rights, should be without afflictions, without injuries. No, they are part of humanity, part of my humanness. It's easier to receive what is pleasant than it is what is unpleasant. But that's another experience of my humanity. There's a lot of deaths. They're very tragic and sad. There's a lot of sickness. There's a lot of disabilities. And I was thinking yesterday, I had a very close college friend who died 2 weeks ago. Wonderful man. Went bicycling, came home, sat down, and had a heart attack. Another classmate, college classmate, my roommate, is in intensive care with heart operation. And this is after I ran 2 miles yesterday. We're the same age. Why do I have a healthier body than those guys? They were on the football team. They were athletes. I'm not an athlete. I don't know. I think it was my Irish ancestors who were digging potatoes centuries ago. They were healthier, and I got past that. Is it luck? No. It's humanity. See, we don't always like humanity, especially in others. You know? Jared Manley Hopkins, an English Jesuit poet, lived in Ireland. He says, "I've seen enough of humanity and I hope I never see it again." We don't like the totality of our humanity in ourselves and in others. So is sickness a gift? No. How I relate with it is a gift of grace. How I relate with infirmities, disabilities, age, that's a gift. But the sickness is not a gift, except my humanity is a gift. I had nothing to do with the body I received and the life I received. Does that help at all, Mary Alice? Is that good?
I didn't quite hear the question.
He asked you if it helped. Is that good? Did it help?
Thank you.
It was a gift, I gave it to you. You have to receive it.
I think it might have been received.
Yeah. Anybody else want anything?
No, I really don't, I'm kind of confused on expectations and demands. I really like, could I have an example?
Sure. And I gave one. Expectations is what I want. Demands is, I'm not available to anything else because it's got to be this way. Espero, in Spanish, I'm waiting, I'm hoping. Tengo que, tiene que, it has to be. And if it's not that way, I'm not receiving anything else. Is that a good example? Yeah.
When you're expecting something, better than I expect.
No, you can't help it. It would be better not to breathe. No, expectations, you got to have them. Your heart is, I mean, in everything we long for God. We don't like to say that, but that's the truth. We always want more of the good. You know that? Whatever is good, we want two more. We always do. It's just the way. And when you get two more, well, these are good. Expectations is a hopefulness. Demands is a very selfish anger. It's got to be this way. You have to be this way. Yeah, you might be very demanding, but it's about demanding says I'm not going to be present to the present of the present unless the present is not a present but what I deserve. Is that any more clear? You want to say anything more about that? I mean, your question is a good one. And probably other people in this room had the same question. If you want to flesh it out. Okay?
You said expectations be holy.
Oh, they are.
And that, I'm trying to wrap my head to figure that out.
Expectations are holy because they are what leads us to God. Expectations are that it's what we're looking for. We're looking for fullness in everything. And any expectation you ever had of a movie, book, person, picnic, whatever, it was good, but. And I think spirituality is living with the but. Does that make sense? Now, it can make sense and still be not easy to live. That's the problem. What makes sense doesn't make peace.
So then it's when acceptance is.
Yes, good. Yeah. See, what I would say in keeping with this talk is reception is the same as gratitude or acceptance, receptivity. One of the great things, one of the great things that I've learned from being a person who's blind is that often you don't have a choice. You know, you you can see it, you can say, chocolate looks better than vanilla. And I found that receptivity is probably just whatever. Because I don't know. Remember I was in Korea and we were giving this retreat in the Jesuit, I was with he said, I can see it and I don't know what it is. Well, you don't have to see it, just receive it. And if you live like that, if you live with expectations but receptivity, it really helps your spirituality. It really does. But if you are selective and choosy, I've often said, I don't like to go to